So I don't know if I know the answer. As of a few weeks ago, I think the country's going to take a better direction, a shift in a better direction. But
Right.
with all the DEI and all the bullshit that goes on, and how could you step into a position where you're forced to give your life for others when that's not even what it's about? So
It's a lot of times it's not.
I can't even imagine, like,
You know.
you have that fight and you have that patriotism where you want to serve and you want to defend your country, but when you don't have that support, and it's not even about the agenda,
Yeah.
right? So mad respect for that, but I'm hoping that this country takes a
Yeah.
change for the better, which I think it can.
It's yeah, absolutely, 100%. And it's and the thing is, it's a collective effort, right? It's like being a vet. Like I would either be deployed or I would be in the rear, at home, stateside,
Yeah.
doing paperwork, processing clearances, doing physical security inspections, writing SOPs, doing all these things, sitting at a desk, training, whatever it may be, getting
Right.
ready for war, doing all these things, going to the schools. Like I was blessed enough and fortunate enough to be able to go to, all these great schools and jump out of airplanes and do all that cool
So
guy
cool.
stuff, right?
Amazing. Yeah.
But as law enforcement officers, you don't get that luxury.
No.
Like you punch a clock every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
And that's exhausting.
Every single day. There's no
Because
going home
there's not.
and taking a break.
Think about it.
You're deployed 365
Yeah,
days a
we're
week.
deployed 12 months out of the year, right? At most. Some of us are not. Some of us get deployed. I mean, I've seen it 18 months,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But the thing is, we are required to, for the sanity, to go home, to go back.
Yeah.
They push us back home, right? Because it's unrealistic for people to be in a deployed environment for too long of a period,
For sure.
right? Because of the mental stress it puts on you. But again, law enforcement officers are there 24/7, and
Just not
if
like-
you're working a case, how long are you on a case?
Depends. I mean, some cops will milk that shit, and so they don't have to.
Right.
For me, I was like, all right, done, next.
Right,
I got
next.
80.
Right, that's that.
For me, it was always like a little bit like a movie script. Like, you'd go in, you would punch that clock, but it was a little bit different, man. I was addicted to that shit.
Mhm,
I would have done
yeah.
it for free
Same.
at one point in time. Well, it all shifted for us, too. Probably around the same time.
Yeah.
Around 2008, things took a wild turn
Oh,
for
yeah.
us. But, we talked about it in some of the other podcasts, too. It's 9/11 was just a huge tragedy to this country, and we never want to ever experience that again.
But it's scary.
But take me back to 9/12,
Right.
where the world,
That
the
next
country
day,
embraced
everybody
us.
came
Yes.
together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that lasted until 2008.
Yeah.
That lasted. So,
Yeah.
but for me, I was addicted to the streets more than the
Mhm.
criminals I was hunting. Like, I love that shit. Like,
Yeah.
Just absolutely loved, especially working a dog.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I did have the ability to shut it off.
Yeah.
Very, consuming personal life, running a dog training business, being a husband, being a father as well. And so I had the ability to switch gears.
Yeah,
And I've just been able to do that in my life too, but it's not everybody can.
Uh-huh.
Whether folks retire from law enforcement, retire from the service, that transition is not easy. And that's why what's so cool about the military and the Skill Bridge program, I don't know if you play with that at all? Like,
Yeah,
I've had folks that have come to my training program.
Mhm.
So I guess for your viewers to understand, please correct me if I'm wrong. It's to really help service members transition back into civilian life and the civilian workforce when they've learned all these skills in the military. And I guess in years past, if they just cut them loose into the free world, like, it doesn't always go well.
Right.
So having the ability to streamline that transition process in the civilian life is amazing. And I've had a couple Army Rangers come through my training program, and it's just been amazing because, of course, they're the elite of the elite human beings, and they're just so experienced with so much parts of life. And it's a very cool thing. So they were very good at writing how to make that happen. Like, my company, the paperwork's almost done as far as being a preferred or approved Skill Bridge provider. But the Army Ranger guys knew how to just
Document
do
that.
dot the right I's and cross the right T's
Right,
and make
exactly.
that shit fly. So. But it's amazing, they're allowed to come as like an apprenticeship, and we don't pay them.
On the job training,
they're still getting a salary from the military.
OJT.
Yeah, it's OJT. There's no better way to learn
That's really
shit.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
it's an
dope.
amazing process.
How did you get involved into dog training?
So, go back a little bit. I worked on the Trump campaign. So after I left Miami the first time around, my buddy was like, hey, I got this job opportunity for you,
Very cool.
you know, and we're heading up this team to work on this job, and I can't tell you exactly what it is. I was like,
Yeah.
come on, Bobby. You know how you get those things?
Yeah.
You're like, no, I don't want to. You hear a pitch, and like, I don't want to,
Yeah.
you know. And he's like, no, listen, you got to check your email. I'm like, and who checks their email? I check. Listen, don't get me. Yours is worse than mine. Okay, good. But anyway, so long story short, I ended up working on the Trump campaign. I still do work here and there for the RNC. Like I have work coming up for the AmFest in Arizona.
Very cool.
But so I was working on the Trump campaign, and we were sitting there and working, and me and my buddy Vinny, and we're sitting there. I was like, I miss my dogs.
Yeah.
You know, right? You're at work and you miss your dogs, and you're just like, man. And I was like, I wish I could take him to work with me. And he's like, why don't you, bud? And I'm like, ding, 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 ding. You know? And that took me on a whole different adventure.
Very cool.
And before, I didn't have a clue I didn't know how to walk a dog. I didn't know nothing. I just grew up, you know, my grandparents had a farm, you know, and a ranch. They had horses, pigs,
Not sure. Very cool.
sugar cane, you name it, they had it.
Wow.
And
Down
no, Mexico.
Oh, no kidding.
My grandmother that just passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, like so that like put me growing up on a farm and a ranch.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like having to
Yeah.
literally herd cattle, plow fields, like wake up 5 a.m. with my grandma to take the corn to the mill to grind it up for the tortillas.
That's cool.
Like literally, like that's
That's
how I grew up. You know,
Amazing.
like you know, so. Going into the military, I was like, this is easy.
Yeah.
You know, like I loved it. I'm like,
Well,
let's
they're
go.
good Mexican
Right,
grandmas,
exactly.
probably.
Right?
That's amazing.
And then like with animals, it's just like it's either intuitive and you got it or you don't.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And it's like being a dog trainer, it's the most rewarding thing. You know.
And this dude's got you as like a Pez dispenser right now.
Right now, literally, right? But look, he's just so
He's
attentive.
adorable.
Yeah, he's adorable.
My path's pretty similar. I was actually playing pro baseball once upon a time and had this massive void in my life where I couldn't have dogs traveling. And as soon as it's the only job I ever got fired from.
Yeah.
So when I got cut and got released, like it went in full pursuit of learning dog training.
Wait, so you a professional baseball player?
Once upon a time. Yeah.
That, and then you had a full career as a canine handler in
Yep.
the force.
Well, dogs drew me to police work. When I left baseball, I went back to Connecticut where I'm from, and I was working in construction during the day, going to school at night, trying to finish my degree. And you know, back then there was no social media, so we'd go in. This is 30-something years ago. So I go into these delis in Connecticut, Stamford, Connecticut, where I'm from, and I would see guys' business card about offering dog training and everything from guard dog service to detection to bite work. So I'm like, fuck, that's amazing. Hooked up, just knocked on his door. And he's
awesome.
still one of my dearest friends today. He opened his business, his mind, his heart, his home, his family, and it was just an incredible opportunity. So
That's awesome.
that's how my path started.
That's amazing.
And it's been I have this insatiable appetite to learn, so
Yeah.
it's never stopped.
Literally, and that's why I love that I went to Highland.
Yeah,
You know, is because it's so for me. I can't tell you how many books. Like then when they're like, all right, you've got a reading list. I'm like,
yeah, I hate that shit. I can't read.
right.
I can't read for shit. Like I cannot retain shit. I read.
I sit there and I'm like, wait, did I read that? And I go and I read it again, and then I'll pick up my book and start to read. I'm like, okay, I got to go back a couple pages because I forgot what I read, right? So I got into audiobooks.
That's my
Yeah, I love audiobooks.
I love audiobooks. Plus, when I was going to school, I was driving an hour and a half
Yes.
one way.
Yeah,
You know?
perfect.
Going
Did
up.
you use your GI Bill for that class?
Oh yeah.
So that's my end goal, right? So I travel the country doing a lot of training, everything from law enforcement, military, but pet owners, pet trainers, sport competition, and I'm doing an online course now where I'm one of the instructors. But my end goal is to have an in-person dog training school where I can
Yes.
accept the GI Bill.
Yes.
There's a lot of paper red tape to jump through as far as getting that
Yes.
process done, but that is the
Yes.
end goal for me.
Yes. Absolutely. 100%. I would definitely encourage it because there's a lot of gimmick out there.
Tons.
and it blew my mind when I jumped into trying to learn about dog training, because when you take it serious, you take it serious, right? You make sure that when you go into a training session that you're all set up and prepared and ready to go, that you set your dog up for success. That's what I tell my clients, right?
Yeah.
And so I would see these people and they're like, oh, I'm a dog trainer. I was like, oh, so where'd you go to school? They're like, online. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? What are you telling me?
I took a test and I passed.
You know, right. And
there are limitations to that.
There are.
And I think COVID, if taught us anything, is that there is a market and a use for online training.
Right.
But it does have a limit. It does plateau at some point.
It does.
And I'm finding it difficult, as we talked earlier. I'm a tech, I'm a fucking idiot with tech. And tech, I'm a jinx. Like, that shit kept turning off because I'm sitting here. Like, I have some EMFs going through me. Like, no, I'm not bullshitting. Like, we'll be sitting in front of my gate. We have an electric gate in my driveway, and I'll hit the fucking button 1,000 times, and my wife grabs it. One time, boop, opens. Like, there's some fucking thing going, like some EMF shit that I don't know what's happening, but
you're electric.
I'm a fucking jinx.
She's electric.
It must be. I must have fucked up frequencies or something. I don't know what's happening.
It's high frequency.
But that's a little bit I'm struggling with too. Is trying to. I'm okay in person. Like I have a lot of repetitions teaching people live, but trying to have this like dialogue online and then getting the tech to work, and then it's a little bit of a struggle for me too. But what in life isn't, right?
Right.
You gotta struggle.
So where would you base the school out of, and how would you structure it?
It would be in Knoxville.
Yeah.
So there'd be different levels, people that have never picked up a leash in their life that want to learn very basic things, transitioning to advanced, like not only pet training but working dog applications. With somebody wants to learn how to train police dogs, whether it's tracking, detection, of course there's obedience, bite work. So running the full scale of being able to provide that education for folks who want to learn a lot of different aspects of dog training. So again, it would be a lot of different dimensions of it. So and I have it all here. The course, that curriculum has to be written down, and that's the hard part, is for me to get that shit in writing and get it digestible. Because some people actually definitely learn better reading. I can't. Like, I retain nothing.
I learned good. I learned when I edit your videos.
I got it.
I do. I'm like, oh, did you say? I didn't remember, because a lot of times you talk to someone and you don't remember what you talked about.
Exactly.
Then you go back, you're like, wow.
Yeah, it's such a
now
powerful,
that makes sense. Yeah.
powerful learning tool for sure. Stuff.
Yeah, these podcasts are really, really. You learn a lot.
Yeah, you really.
But
absolutely.
the hands-on is a whole different ballgame, especially for working dogs.
Yes.
Basic, I would see, probably online maybe, but anything advanced, you have to.
Yeah, I think it could give you a little bit of a baseline, but really, they're a creature that learns through association. So capturing those behaviors like in the moment is crucial. And same with a human, because a dog may be doing something we want the new human attached to the leash to capture. Online, it's not.
It's not.
You don't have that ability.
Isn't. Yeah.
Even if you're doing a live training session, like we set up Zoom or Google Meet or something, and it's not quite the same.
It's not. You need that interaction. They're not creatures that listen to words. And that's what I tell my clients all the time. I was like, okay, ask your dog to speak to you.
Yeah.
Well, we can't.
Exactly.
Hey, Mom, what's up?
And then you want to just grab the leash and say, sit down. This is how you do it.
I'll tell my clients, I'm like, all right, sit down. We're going to have a discussion about this, okay?
Yep.
And they're like, I feel like all we do is counseling more than anything. I was like, honestly, because there's two ends of the leash, and it's so true though, because they are receptive of what you're doing. And I'm very hands off when it comes to training my clients, because I tell them all the time, I was like, well, I could do this. I could train your dog all day. Yeah. But when I walk out the door, what are we doing?
So you're doing mostly one-on-one lessons, or you're doing board and train as well?
I do mostly one-on-one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's so much fun. It's so much fun to see the progress, especially because I like to work with a lot of rescue dogs.
Oh yeah.
Those behavior mods that nobody likes, or they're like, oh, this dog just needs to be put down. And I'm like, what'd he do? And she was like, well, he ripped up a toy. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Come again?
If he's ripping up your tricep, that's one thing.
Right.
Not a toy.
Right. But that's what I like working pet dogs, because that's what gives me the capability to think outside the box when working working dogs,
definitely.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, I tell people, too, like in the working dog world, like if I'm working with rangers or people in the foot competition, the working dogs, especially the ones that are genetically engineered to produce the behaviors we want for working applications, and there's a science to it. It's not easy by any means, but those dogs are Ferraris built to race on a racetrack.
Right, exactly.
Now you take a nerve bag pet that doesn't give a shit about you, your food, or barely the oxygen that's going through its lungs. Like, when you can take that dog, put it in your program, kind of reverse the psychology, make the dog fully engaged, make it clear on its job, and make it appear that it enjoys the work, like that's dog training. So whether you're sniffing out C4 on target and overseas, or you're trying to get your dog to go to place under a lot of distraction, dog behaviors, dog training 101.
Exactly.
So something, I'm big on, we do provide one-on-one lessons. I board and train is really our go-to, but something we're going to add is day training.
Oh, that's awesome.
Where someone will come and drop the dog off in the morning. You do all the repetitions during the day, and they come in the evening to pick the dog up. Now, there's a couple different ways. I got a buddy that just left in North Carolina with a very successful business where Monday he'll have, let's say, 10 dogs dropped off to he's got a bunch of trainers. So 10 dogs are dropped off. The repetitions are done Monday. Monday night they get a go-home lesson with the owner. The owner practices for the remainder part of the week with everything that we've shown, probably similar to what you do with one-on-ones. Tuesday, a whole different flight of dogs come in, and then throughout the week. Just because we're a little bit smaller, mom and pop, I think what we may add is the same dog gets dropped off Monday through Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it just gets picked up every day, and then Friday is the go-home lesson. Now, I think that it's a little bit more difficult because the owners are very good at undoing the shit that we teach the dog, so it's a little difficult. But I think that's something we may add because there's a lot of folks that don't want to part with their dogs for that long. They're it's our livelihood and it's what the path that we've chosen. But these are people's family members.
Yeah, literally.
So it's hard.
Yeah. I have a Schnauzer family. Last night was my third session with them. So he's a singleton.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he's a singleton miniature Schnauzer. The mom,
I can already feel the
mom had him. She wasn't even a year old.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it was the miniature Schnauzer. The male is a chocolate, dark, beautiful with like crystal blue, like that color, blue eyes.
No kidding.
Yeah. And the mom is a teeny, like a teacup Schnauzer.
No kidding.
So they ended up getting pregnant. She wasn't even a year old.
Wow.
And
make yourself comfortable.
Make yourself comfortable, dude. And singleton.
Ooh, you can chew on the plants.
So the first time I meet them, I didn't know it had a different dog, and it just had one dog. I showed up to this session, and it was 3 dogs, and one of them bit me.
No kidding.
Yeah, the singleton bit me.
Really?
Yeah. And the whole time I'm ignoring him, right? The whole time I'm talking to the mom, and he's over here like this on me, but he's like. You know how they do it?
Testing
to see what's going on, to see what's going on. So I knew he wasn't like trying to like, I'm gonna eat you, but he was definitely like, what's this? What's going on?
So we have an opportunity here to talk about puppy mouthing and biting, right?
Yes.
So what we do here, like typically you move your hands and you push him away, that stimulates him more.
Exactly.
So if he goes to bite my hands again, which maybe hears me talking, he's like, I've heard you talk about this.
He probably has. But you watch your videos a lot.
I'm gonna be a good boy.
So now he's biting. So what we do is we make the source unpleasant, right? And make him retreat. So if he goes,
listen, that's what I do. He'll take my hand, and he knows. That's why he doesn't do it anymore. I literally just
make him
back pressure.
He's just like.
Right here, he's saying, "You're no fun. Where are the biscuits?"
Yeah, exactly.
Mom's hands are better.
I'm out of
He's
here.
like, I'm out.
Lesson learned.
Well, that's cool, man. So yeah, I think we may start offering that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool, and that's great because the thing is your education and your teaching will go on even further.
For
you
sure.
know, like that word of mouth, like getting those referrals and getting people to definitely want to like.
Yep.
I need, you know what I mean? Like, they need you to come. They definitely, like, they message you and they ask you questions.
Yeah.
Like, I send your videos to so many clients,
Oh,
you know what I mean? Because it's like, I know, I've seen this before, you know? But yeah, it's such a great tool to have, you know, these mentors that are out there, you know what I mean? You being one of them, obviously, in the dog world, and being able to provide that education that so many of us are looking for, you know, because I can only read so many books.
Of course.
You know, and I believe that the best way to learn is hands-on and being thrown into the pool of sorts, but having people like you out there and providing that knowledge and providing the education out there, adding like a continuing education classes, you know how you travel and do your seminars and stuff.
Yes.
I think maybe also like if you did I don't know how you would do it, like continuing education courses on your location would be a great idea too.
With advanced trainers.
Yeah.
That's the plan. And I get other, my peers or other trainers in the industry are like, bro, why do you give all that shit away for free? And we're starting to, again, I'm on this program now with this company, DIY Canine, with American Standard Canine. We're doing a collaboration where like all my shit will be available on their platform.
You're creating a brand.
I am, but for me, it's none of it belongs to me.
Right.
It's God's. Like He's put it on my heart to be obsessed with this, and He's given me the ability to make a living doing it. And as I mentioned, my early mentor, Chris Byrne, who I got into dog training with, like he opened his brain and his life and everything to me, and like I intrinsically have a desire to pay it forward. I'm not feeling obligated to do it, and that's part of it.
Yeah,
is like just you give it away and 100%. It comes back to you tenfold, and it's not even 100%. Like trying to manipulate that shit. It's just how God does what it does. Yeah. But just because you give it away for free and you put it all out there doesn't mean people can do it.
Right, exactly.
I know, absolutely.
That's what I tell people.
Because I can listen to you. I edit your videos. I spend hours listening to you. Yeah. And it's only so much my brain rests. Because I'm only listening and watching you. I'm not really physically doing it. So when you combine the two of them, then it finally sinks in. So yeah, you can take classes online, but when you go to practice, are you going to remember everything that you watch online? Exactly. Absolutely fucking no, you're not going to remember all
exactly.
And at the end of the day, the fucking chancla comes out and it's over.
That's
right?
it. That's e-collar, okay?
Right. No, yeah, that's the absolute truth. It's like you said. So somebody asked me that too. They're like, why don't you charge for this or that? I was like, look, it's not mine to charge. You know what I mean? To charge other people. It was avocados. I remember all the avocados that fell from my tree.
She's also a chef.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I went to culinary.
This is ridiculous.
You done, man?
I know, it's ridiculous.
There's a lot that I haven't done, but
sure, her bucket list is like this big.
No, I'm still. There's so many things that I want to do still.
Well, what is the next stop for you? Like, what's the next part of your journey?
Growing my career, honestly.
With dogs?
Like, yes, absolutely. Like saving more dogs. Cool. And being able to put myself in a place financially that I can actually contribute my time. Gotcha. My energy, and like you said, my resources to teaching people and holding seminars, and I'm getting people now that are asking me to teach them to do this or do, you know what I mean? Like, hey, can you?
That looks like potty behavior.
I know it does. Yeah. It really does. And he went pee before we came in here, but he just got
6,000 biscuits sitting here.
I know. I got so many in here too.
She came loaded with biscuits.
Well, that's very cool. Like what is your main thing? Is it aggression cases, or what's your thing? What's
yeah.
I
love bite work. That was my thing going into the course. Gotcha. Was working dog stuff. So detection, trailing, bite work. I love that stuff. I love the science behind it. Cool. Like you said, there's a science behind everything when it comes to that, and being able to go to seminars and doing decoy seminars as well, and going to learn more, because decoys are so like. You have to be very precise. You have to be very exact. You have to be able to read the dog before the dog even does what he's going to do next, right? Because you need to learn how to teach the dog how to give a bite, and you have to know how to take that bite, right? Sure. And it's so important, because I've seen so many cases to where dogs don't know what they're doing. No. Handlers don't know what they're doing, and the wrong person gets bit, or somebody gets mangled, or the handler gets bit, and it's just like, it's so preventable. It's so preventable, and I think that being able to get the education out there, like you said, and that's what I want to do. And end goal is to get the education out there.
Gotcha.
Because what was the point of me learning? It's not just for me to just
keep
myself.
So you essentially want to learn how to train others and pass it on.
Yeah, because that's what I was taught to do.
Gotcha.
That's what I was taught to do, was to put that education out there, to make it known, and that's the great thing about it, is whenever I have a client, then they no longer need me. They're like, what else can we do? I'm like, what else are we going to do? Teach your dog to jump through a hula hoop?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've got a class coming up in January in Pasco County, which is just north of Tampa, and it's I'm actually teaching 9 days straight. The first 3 days are what I call a trilogy of aggression. And I have 2 other instructors who are incredible, Eric Good and Ronnie Mangiello. Ronnie's right here.
Yes.
You know Ronnie?
He's coming.
Yeah,
I messaged him.
Oh, good.
I didn't know he lived in Palm City.
He's right here.
He's right here, yeah.
Yeah, he's with Martin County.
He's a badass.
He's
Awesome.
amazing. And then Eric's in charge of all the patrol dogs for Fort Lauderdale Police
That's
Department.
awesome.
Oh, that's so
So we're
cool.
teaching this class, and it's all things aggression together. So it's 3 days straight of that. Then I'm doing by myself a 3-day tracking course,
Oh, cool.
and then a 3 days of all things dogs. So if you want to come as my guest, I'll be happy to
Yeah.
donate your spot for that.
Yeah,
I'll send you the
absolutely.
information for that. So
I'd love
Awesome.
to. Yay.
yeah, there'll be a lot of moving parts. Your brain will be on fire.
Let's go. I am down. Let me know. I am down to help. I
Very
can
cool.
carry papers, whatever I need to.
Yeah, and there's some very talented people in Miami too.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Tony Guzman. You know
No, I
Tony?
don't. I've heard of Tony Guzman.
Metro Dade Canine.
Mm-hmm.
Tony's an OG. He's been at it forever, and he's just a brilliant guy and super, super talented, and has brought in the strongest and best police dogs over the last 30 plus
That's
years
awesome.
that I've ever seen. He's out in the Redlands too, and his son Anthony's the successor to Tony's
That's awesome.
business
I
and
love
stuff.
that.
They're doing amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you work for someone specific, but it's always been for me. And I have a girl named Rebecca who works for me. She's amazing, and I always encourage to reach out and learn from other people. You know, there's people are very dysfunctional with dogs, and especially when there's a badge and a gun involved, like the egos are crazy. Like people want to just keep you inside their little tribe and not go outside your little island and not seek other information. But I'm always very much encouraging folks to go seek other, not just hear my bullshit, but always go seek other things. And it may be things that you're going to say, well, I'll never use that because that's not the way to do it. Or you may hear something that absolutely resonates with you. And we'll be back for more.
And that's the thing too, is understanding what works for you and what doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, because some people just think that, oh well, I'm just going to take this and run with it and not know what they're doing with it. You
So
know,
we're gagging a puppy out there doing a podcast.
That's awesome.
So yeah, Tony's amazing. If you were, I don't know if you're under like a
Yeah.
licensing agreement or your place where you work. Is
Well,
like,
she's a freelancer.
Yeah,
She's a free spirit.
I am.
Good.
With the puppies. No, it's great. Like I said, you know, I'll get a random call and I'm like, hello? You know, and they're like, hey, such and such referred me to you.
Cool.
And I'm like, oh, yes.
Very cool.
That's amazing. You know.
Best form of advertising.
Yeah, and it's great. And this lady was, she was this whole poor baby. This puppy, she had just rescued her. It was Tuesday that she rescued her. Saturday, I showed up to their house. She was so terrified she would not come out of the house.
Really?
She was peeing and pooping everywhere every
wow.
time she got scared, like through the roof anxiety. Like
How old?
And the lady, 6 months.
Okay.
6-month puppy.
Gotcha.
She's like, oh my God, she's just this. I was like, calm down.
Yeah.
It's okay. You know, apparently the puppy had been through 2 other homes and was just been through the horrible situation, you know. So it's just, I was like, it's just going to take time. It's okay. Be patient. Don't cry.
Yeah.
Don't cry. But
when humans see a dog having a meltdown, like freaked out over something, stressed over something, many times their heart is in the right place. And they're in very good nature about how they try to soothe the puppy through that stress, how they try to coddle the puppy through, like tell it it's okay, pet it, you know, and remove it. And all you're doing is making that dog a mess, total mess.
that's
What they desperately need is leadership.
Yes.
And to understand that a lot of times dogs don't have the genetic predisposition to handle a lot of conflicts in life. But through your training and communication process, you teach them that you don't have to. I got this.
Right.
All you gotta do is follow.
Just guidance.
That's it.
Right.
Bro, you're about it. Like, I'm tickling your lungs and shit. You know, like, you're okay with it. You're okay with it.
Listen, Poseidon, my oldest Corso, will just sit there and be like, get out of my way. And then this one comes, just like, yeah.
Get the puppy zoomies, right?
He does so bad.
You put it here and you can't get to it. He'll be annoyed.
He does. I put it like on his chest, and he's like,
So have you done decoy work yourself?
Yes.
Actually, I think I did see you in the story you posted.
Yeah, the
That was
video.
very cool.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
cool.
I love it.
She looks, you know what you look like? You know the Christmas Story movie?
Oh my God, that's so funny. That's so funny.
We have to do a video of you doing this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's my favorite part. That's my favorite part is to, you know, when they teach you to decoy work, they're like, whatever you do, don't take your eyes off the dog.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And you always see people, they're like, I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Exactly.
You know, but you see you communicate with the dog.
Absolutely.
I tell people, I was like, you gain that eye contact. I was like, and you let them know. I was like, I like to get dogs, for me, I tell people, I was like, dogs don't have opposable thumbs, so they can't really grab you and hug you and hold you.
Exactly.
So what they're going to use is their mouth.
Yes.
You know, I was like, and they want to hug you. I was like, so they're going to jump up. Maybe if you get on their level, they won't have to jump. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I said, now you don't do it to complete total strangers. I was like, but that's, you know, he's like, excuse me, mic check.
Yeah, if you're into the bite stuff, you got to get a suit that's tailored for you.
Yeah.
If you jump into someone's big old suit, it's so
It
hard
doesn't
to move.
work.
No.
It doesn't work.
And it's communication with the dog too. Like if you're trying to build that aggression and the dog biting with full and with intent, if they're just sucking material and you're not teaching them to dig for muscle,
Yeah.
it's
That
they don't
bite
quite get
pressure.
it. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
important. The marking process.
No.
And people, and I see,
You don't like the Spanish
see-
way.
she gonna whip a chancla out of nowhere.
No.
Yeah.
It's so vitally important, and that's why I said being able to go to Highland and learn from Jason.
Mhm.
He teaches, you know, so many different agencies across the
Yes,
nation.
yeah.
He travels so much,
Yeah.
and to be able to get that one-on-one experience. And they're like, "All right, who wants to get a jumpsuit?" I'm like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
You know, I'm definitely getting in a bite suit, and they're like, "You're crazy." I'm like,
You're crazy.
"Listen, you've got to put your hands in it, and you got to
Yeah.
experience it. You got to go through it in
Oh.
order to know it. Like
When
you can't."
you jumped out of planes, man. What's taking a bite?
What's
Yeah.
taking a bite? I've been bit before too.
Yeah.
Like attacked by a chow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
those things are
I'll never be a
mean.
hand
I
model.
know.
Punctures in my
Right,
ribs.
literally. I have a lot of tattoos because I have a lot of
Say now.
scars, man.
Do it again.
Something that Jason did was really cool. Like I'm big fan of detection. The dog's nose is absolutely
The
fascinating.
olfactory system is amazing.
And I think one of his big contributions to the detection dog training industry is that he's done a lot of studies about how long does it take for a dog to get conditioned to odor. And he's broken it down to like
the proofing
minutes.
system.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
I carry my book with me,
Yeah.
my notebook still, and it's got a proofing technique, you know, and detection, how to get the entire process. And like I said, it was just amazing. They're like, "Who wants to work working dogs?" I'm like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
So I'm running with dogs because, you know, you can't pull, you can't jerk. You have to be able to allow them to go, you know what I
Yep.
mean? Understanding, you know, how to work a leash and everything else. And working with Jason, listen,
He just
does
discovered
that.
himself.
He's like, who's this handsome fella?
He's like, you've been here the whole fucking time?
He's like, "You've been here the whole
Of course.
time and didn't
Phone
say
comes
hi."
out.
Of course,
We lost the moment.
that's why I never take the phone out, because as soon as I do,
Always.
done.
These pet dogs think it's like a bazooka too. The training session will be going on, like, "Oh, you're doing great," and they're like, and I can think about to shoot them in the face with a.
That's why I just set it up
Always.
before I even start the training, because as soon as I do, he's like, boom. I'm like, of course you would.
He gets his gets snot all over the lens and stuff too.
But listen, it's being able to be in that environment. Listen, I told people, I was like, I will pick up shit all day, every day, but it's because I get to work with dogs.
Yeah.
You know, they're amazing
That's a part
animals.
of
They're
it, man.
amazing creatures. Being able to communicate without word, and they're like, I know what you want me to do. Hold on, I got you, right? It's so cool.
My father-in-law was a veterinarian for over 40 years.
Oh, that's
he
awesome.
passed, God bless his soul, but he used to say that shit is the smell of money.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
Nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to do it. Literally, I had a client, she was like, "Can you just take my dog?" I'm like, "No, that's not how this works."
Yeah.
But she had pee pads everywhere,
Ew.
and it was
Yeah.
just like it was just a disaster. She
Yes.
wanted me to take her dog, fix it, and bring it back, and said, "Here you go, you got a new dog." You know what I mean? So it's definitely is pretty funny how a lot of
Handsome fella, bro. Look at checking yourself out. He's like, "You're doing the same thing I am."
you are matching my energy. I like
Bro,
it.
we're vibing. We're twinsies. Do something. Bro. It's a standoff. He broke the staring competition.
To get uncomfortable, buddy.
So are the Pitties still banned in Miami? I know there was a breed ban at one point in time.
They lifted it.
They did, they?
I think a year or two ago,
Oh,
they lifted the ban.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Good.
That's
Yeah,
the
in
majority.
Miami-Dade
yeah.
County.
Yeah.
That's the majority of everything that comes out of the. Well, that's everywhere though.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that's everywhere. But honestly, though, God, they're such good puppies too.
They're so cool. I
They're
fell in love with them.
They're amazing. They're amazing. You know, and
One of the dogs I learned the most on my personal dog. He's 14,
Brutus.
about 14 years old now. He's
Brutus,
He's a
He's
pit.
on the other side,
come.
literally.
Literally on the
He
other side.
crawls.
He's stuck. He can't get his butt out from under it.
Craft Pro.
He can't get out. Look at him.
Grab the can real quick.
Bud.
Little boys.
He's literally stuck. He's like a rat. There he is.
You found him?
Yes. He was like